Yay! This one is a surprise, and it's a very special treat. And then I have got the enigma that is James Kwesi Addison. I think some you remember the occasions previously. Yes, share James. Now, and then I've managed to get him on. We have 15 minutes on the clock, no more. Just so he can give us some inspiration and also tell us about the NTIA, the services, and Many James, there were webinar on Monday. Details published, details available. It's Mr. Share video no matter why. Catch for said you were one of my crazy unscripted discussions. No more than 15 minutes. James Maju, what to say? So, and then you may now, I am very excited. Me person maybe a question be about emotional intelligence. No, first. What's it and where they?
Okay. Menka say and say cobrofo.
You bet me I can kasa any brofo interchangeably the afrafra. Whatever. Okay, let's put in okay. Somebody I want to benefit from it. Yes. Let's begin.
Good.
So what is the business with emotional intelligence? What is it?
Good. Emotional intelligence, as the name suggests, is your intelligence when it comes to emotions. So your ability to harness your emotions for good. This is very crucial because emotions are involved in everything that a person does.
Okay.
So our ability to manage the distressing emotions will determine how far we can go in life. And this is very crucial because without ability to manage emotions, we are driven off our passion, one. Secondly, we turn a blind eye to issues that will make us who we are born to become. And thirdly, our relationship with other people suffers. So all these three areas are very critical in our life. It will help you to locate your passion. It will help you to achieve your purpose in life. So there is a difference between locating your passion, then achieving your purpose, and then your relationship with others. When you have these three things, it's likely you'll be successful in life. We are talking about success, not people driving V8 only or living in big mansions, but success in every sphere of your life, in marriage, at the workplace, parenting, your relationship with your siblings, your relationship with other people, your community responsibility, your family intelligence. How good are you in relating to your own family, the community that you live in? What are your responsibilities towards the community? Are you happy in life? This is self-actualization. People that lack these three areas are likely not to be self-actualized. That simply means they may find themselves doing something for salary's sake, but something that does not give them happiness in the future. So emotional intelligence is very, very, very important. First, for your own self and your relationship with others. When we move into the workplace, who wants to work with somebody who cannot work in the team? That means the person lacks team spirit or skills. Who is that person who is constantly bullying people instead of becoming assertive? Very, very important. Are you that empathetic? Are you able to relate to people and connect into their emotions to help them out of any situation they find themselves? Very, very important. This is very crucial at the workplace again, because we normally have what I call the safety officers, the workplace safety officers, but who is in charge of emotional safety? But research have shown that productivity has something to do with emotions. Emotions will move workers. and workers will move productivity. That means the environment should be emotionally balanced enough to get the best out of the employees. Very, very important.
You've gone to a few places already. I was about to ask you, so who will benefit from this emotional intelligence awareness? And you've sort of answered a lot of that already. You mentioned parents.
Good.
What has this got to do with parents?
Good. You know, most of the time I tell my people that I relate with and people that I coach that don't worry too much about what you want to see in the child. Worried about what you are doing. This is very, very important. Most of the time, we take parents to be lack of presence. Most parents are not present with their children.
Ooh.
And this is, yes, they are just there. So the Monday, they are going to see whether they are with their kids or they've just given them out to the world to deal with. This is very, very, very important. We are parent enough, but we are not present with our children. So most of the time, we're worried about what the future holds for the children. But I want to caution parents and guardians not to worry about what the future holds for the children. They should worry about what they are doing. Because in emotional dynamics, emotions are contagious. Emotions can affect and it can be transferred. It's transferable. So what you want to see in the children must see you modeling them. And you can only model when you are present with them. Very, very important. So when you don't have enough time with the children, we are not talking about having 8 hours with them. But can you put aside your phone for 10 minutes and give them attention? We are talking about the little things that parents will do to ensure that they are present with the children. When they are about to go to bed, do you spend some 3 minutes on their bedside and engage them what might have bothered them during the day? We don't do all these things. Then when we're rather worried about what their future holds. But what the future holds for them is what we will be doing. So if parents lack dynamism into children's emotions, then it means they are doing disservice to themselves and the future leaders of tomorrow. Very, very important.
That is very deep. Right. So the last time we talked, we discussed emotional capital in children. Let's talk about that. What's that?
Good. You know, in normal business, capital is simple, the assets. It could be both financial and fixed assets or whatever they call it. That forms the basis for every business. So for instance, in a business of today, you may have to get an office, get other equipment that you need to run your business. So this is what the psychologists and the sociologists have extended it into emotions. That each and every one should also be able to harness his or her emotions in life. Wow. So that becomes emotional capital. These are simply the beliefs and feelings that will ensure that somebody can relate to somebody in a very compassionate and healthy way.
Yeah.
Very, very important. Yes. Do you have that form of capital within you? Don't forget, we are moved by emotions. When I see some of the things that you do and say, sometimes I'm afraid to go there. But you are moved to do these things because of your love for your nation, Ghana, and Africa as a whole. Because of what the change that you want to see in Ghanaians. Today, I saw you discussing something about the assets that our mothers give the women.
Oh, yes.
I have never dreamt of going into that line because it will only take a kind to change the mentality of a kind.
Yeah.
Right? So when I see you venturing into those areas, the only thing that comes to me that you may not be aware, but you are moved by emotions. We are talking about positive emotions, your love for your community, your love to see the change. You could have given this knowledge to your children. So why do you bother yourself about the rest of Ghanaians? So most of the time we are moved by emotions. So if our emotions are not good, it's likely we may not live up to expectations. So we need to have this form of capital in us to be able to be successful in life. So far as every business needs a capital, human beings also need to harness their emotional capital. That will help them to relate to other people in very compassionate and empathetic way. Very, very important.
That's man management, really, isn't it? The ability to do what you just said is man management. So actually, to be a good business person, to be a good anybody, a good parent, to be a good friend, anything, you have to have this emotional capital. But I am more interested in this emotional capital with children. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hi, Ange. I am with James. I've managed to get 15 minutes with James on the clock. I am going to push my luck as usual and double it to 30 minutes if I can. But listen, James and I have been talking for a while. I've actually managed to convince James to come into webinar. The last time he was here and I mentioned that we might go into webinar, a lot of you indicated that you might be interested. So James has kindly agreed to come into webinar. The webinar link is what you can see on the screen. So 400240 is the webinar. Copy the whole thing, go straight into the link and book yourself automatically. There is no need now to call me. Hello, George. Greetings, Ange. It's really good to see you. We are discussing emotional capital and its advantages. And just as it's a double-edged sword, really. It can do wonderful things for you. But if you are not skilled that way, it can also impede you in very, very funny ways. Let me ask James, can you give us an example when somebody's poor emotional capital has cost them dearly?
Good. You know, you may think that the examples and instances are far away, but they are with us all the time. I will call it a daily occurrence. Most of the time, our ill management of emotions causes a lot. And one practical example that I can give is, you know, when Akufo-Addo came into power,
yeah,
there was this MP, an MP that was a deputy minister for Agric. I think he's with the Akim-Odan constituency. Is it Achim-Odan? Yeah, in the eastern region, right? He made some comment about people in the northern part of our country that cost him dearly. And he's somebody that I've lived with them for almost, according to him, for almost 12 or 15 years. But then he seems to have portrayed and make a simple comment about them that really forced him to relinquish that particular position. So this can tell you that if you don't understand people's emotions, you will not have the ability to relate with them empathetically. You will not have the ability to get them on board with you. And it's likely to force you in what? In your dealings with them.
Yeah.
This is very, very important. It was just a simple statement. You're getting my point. I don't want to go into repeating that, but it's just a comment. So a comment that came from somebody that cost him his dear position. You're getting my point. That means we should have the ability to really interpret what we want to put across. And your interpretation may have to take into consideration how people's emotions will be triggered based on what you are saying.
Fabulous.
Very, 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 very important. We have what we call cultural intelligence. The very latest blog that has been added to emotional intelligence is called cultural intelligence. This is simply your ability to know and understand people's beliefs, aspiration, their norms, and those things. These things are what make people who they are. So when you belittle some of these things, it's likely to cost you dearly. Very, very crucial for us to understand that when we don't manage emotions well. And recently, yes, I will send you a video on that so that you share with them later.
Oh, yes.
We have what we called, it has now become known as the Midland case. The Midland case. Midland is a savings and loans in Ghana. People can just Google. Yes, people can Google, or they can go to Emotional Intelligence TV and watch. Right, the Midland case. A woman that has been saving with Midland Savings and Loans went there for withdrawal.
Mm-hmm.
She was there Monday. She couldn't withdraw. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. She was still not able to withdraw. So the woman decided to stay there until she has gotten her money.
Yep.
Remember, there were some crises in Ghana some few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
A major financial crisis that hit Ghana.
Yeah.
So there was this kind of rush in withdrawals. So the woman was there for 5 good days. Up to Friday, her money, she wasn't able to withdraw her money. So it got to a time that the woman told herself that I'm not leaving the premises until I've gotten my money. Then a police officer came in, forcing this woman to go out of the premises of the banking hall, to go out of the banking hall. And it became a fight between the police and the woman. Now, I was called to the police headquarters for interview to look into what might have caused this and what advice do I have. And I did a simple analysis into the situation. Now, the woman had confidence in the banking system, and she banked with Midland Savings and Loans. The woman was there first day, she did not get it. So a couple of emotions within the woman were triggered. Fear, anxiety, disappointment. You're getting my point. Frustration. The woman was at a point in time battling with close to 5 emotions, all of them being distressing emotions. Secondly, the woman has a daughter who was mentally challenged, and she has given birth, and the woman is the one taking care of that child. And the child was with the woman whenever she goes to the banking hall for her money. So the police officer was asked to send this woman off. The police officer failed to do what we call reality check in emotional intelligence. For you to have a very good decision, for you to take a very good decision, there are 4 things that need to go into your decision, so far as emotions are concerned. And today I will give just one for lack of time. The very first one is what we call reality check. This is simply your ability to look at the corresponding between what is perceived and what is actually on the ground. So the police officer was given an information that made the police officer to believe and perceive that the woman is insubordinate and she is disregarding the rules of the game. That the banking hall closes at 5 o'clock and you have to go. So what the police officer should have done if he had been trained in emotions is to do what we call validation. To validate somebody's emotions is very, very critical. So the police officer failed to validate. To validate simply means you appreciate and appeal to that person's conscience that you understand and appreciate the situation he or she find himself in. And by that, you do it with your words and your action. So the police officer could have just gone to the woman and said, "Woman, do you know something? I know something might have gone wrong. What is it? I am here as a security officer to ensure that nothing go out of hand here." Do you think the woman will start fighting the police officer? No. But the police officer fails to understand the emotions that are battling the woman. And because of that, he fails. The woman got her money back. The bank built a whole house for the woman. You getting my point? So when emotions are not managed properly, they come with costs. But most of the time, we don't see it. Unmanaged emotions have a cost. So are you managing your emotions well?
Ooh.
Research have shown that between 80 to 90% of the physical injuries at the workplace are as a result of emotional challenges, psychological problems. 60% of work absenteeism are as a result of emotional abuse at the workplace.
Absolutely.
This is very, very important. So unmanaged emotions can cost us dearly. The police officer had a problem for some time. He had a very serious problem for some time. And I think the issue has been resolved now. But look at the cost that came to the woman. Now, I will add up. I won't even allow you to ask me this question. Mr. Addison, what then are some of the examples of people that have managed distressing emotions very well and become very successful? The first person I want to give you is the richest man in China, Jack Ma. Jack Ma, according to his own story, was rejected in so many occasions. So a rejection that should have sent Jack Ma to be very disappointed in himself, to be worthless, as he may put it. Jack Ma managed this rejection and turned it into a positive emotion of starting his own business. And today, when we talk about the richest people on this earth, Jack Ma is one of them. So negative emotions, when managed properly, is a source of wealth. So I always tell people there is wealth in emotions. There is money in emotions. You need to have the eye and experience and expertise to know where the gold is. Very, very important. We're talking about emotions, having your ability to find your passion and your purpose. Bill Gates did not start life to become the richest man on earth. Bill Gates was very happy and excited and playing with computers. And that was his passion. So when passions are identified, purposes in life are built or are found. So emotions have wealth in them.
Wow.
These people have been able to manage their emotions and they are very successful as we speak now. To be frank, research have shown and evidence are supporting it that people that are very successful may differ in so many aspects, but I cannot tell you that they have one thing in common, and that is that all of them are emotionally intelligent. You can find out. Be it in marriage. Your mother was able to live with your father for 50 to 60 years in marriage. If you ask your mother, he will tell you the skills, the characteristics that she will be enumerating for you are emotional intelligence skills. So if your marriage is failing, add emotional intelligence. I've given you everything and provided everything for you. Why are you still not happy in life? You have not added emotional intelligence. How many times do you appreciate a simple dress that she put on? How many times do you push her to do whatever he's trying to do? Many men, and I'm not condemning men, that is why emotional intelligence is here. We are not condemning men, but many men cannot stand women like you. Let her know, marry them and push them to do what they are doing. Very, very important. So your husband is emotionally intelligent.
He really is.
Having the ability to identify what moves my wife.
Yeah.
And let me support my wife to do what. I mean, within the short time I came into contact with you, most of the time I ask myself, do you sleep at all? Because when I'm sleeping, you are still, your day has just begun. You're getting my point. So for you to have a husband, it means that husband is emotionally intelligent.
Oh, he
Why?
does.
Because he's identified your passion.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to stand in your way of your passion. So whenever he pushes you, allows you to blossom and to do what you love doing, you return that love and joy back to him.
Absolutely.
He may be a very lucky man. Because
Absolutely.
you enjoy what you are doing. And that is very, very important. So emotional intelligence is omni, I would say is omnipresent, omni needed, if there is a word like that. Omni needed. Everybody needs it. You get my point? Everybody. And as I told you, people that have really made it in life, they identified and properly harness emotions.
Wow.
Now, when you read about Bill Gates, he's one of the people that have positive self-regard.
Yeah.
Self-regard. This is one of the very important blocks in emotional intelligence. Self-regard. Knowing yourself. We are not talking about pride here, but you know your strength and you appreciate your weakness. You find a way, either through knowledge acquisition, to fill that gap in your life, or you find somebody who fills that gap. I won't be surprised if your husband is that quiet and reserved.
100%.
Because, come again.
100%. Very quiet.
Good,
very
good. I'm a prophet, you know.
Yes,
I'm a prophet.
Yes, you are.
I'm an emotional, intelligent prophet.
You are an amazing prophet. What you saying?
Yeah, the first of its kind in African continent. We're not speaking only from the theories, but then the practical and experience that we've gotten. So absolutely. a person that is that reserved and not outgoing will prefer to fill that gap with somebody who is that outgoing.
Yeah.
So if you really caught with your husband before marriage, then one of the basis of that marriage is the fact that he saw in you that spirit of outgoing and that resilience. So he may be very reserved, but you have filled that gap. This is what we call the positive self-regard. Bill Gates is one of the people with the highest positive self-regard scoring when it comes to emotional intelligence. The man knows what he knows, and he knows what he doesn't know. And he makes sure that people fill those gaps, and their life becomes very meaningful and very good for everybody. So emotions can help us to be what we are, and emotions can also fight against what we actually born to become.
You know, we are talking about these ones, and these ones you've given are very good ones for adults. Listen, our next webinar, and for those of you who are on, I have actually put it up a few times. James has agreed to come into webinar. It would be on Monday next week. Monday, I'll tell you what date it is. Monday the 6th. Monday the 6th. The webinar link is what you can see on the screen right now. No, there is no need. So a lot of you, the last time I was with James, indicated that you were interested in coming into webinar. At the time, the webinar wasn't ready, so I couldn't share the link. We had to change the app and the service provider. So those things are done now, and the webinar is live. Can you click on that link, copy paste that into a URL if you don't want to click and go out right now? But copy paste it, go straight into it. Oh yes, Mrs. Gates is quite outspoken. I think sometimes she even speaks out of turn. But that's one of the things I've seen her speak in times when maybe Bill doesn't necessarily agree with what she's saying, but he doesn't jump in. He just lets her express. And that's also intelligence, really. Oh yeah, know your strength, know your weaknesses, and know how to compensate for your weaknesses. That's the key thing. A lot of us know our strength. Many of us don't know our weaknesses. And when we know it, we don't know what to do about it. So people will say to you, yeah, as for me, I have anger issues. No. As for you, you have anger issues. How are you managing anger issues? As for you, I don't know how to manage money. Well, what would you do about it is what differentiates those who are successful and those who are not. But that's not the webinar this time. This time, we are talking about emotional capital in children and how parents can develop it. That's what the webinar is about, emotional capital in children and how parents can help develop it. What James is going to do is build some capacity in you so you can handle your kids better. James, can we give a 5-minute dress rehearsal, if you like, of what they can expect if they book onto the webinar? What would they get?
Good. I hope my voice is clear there because I was not hearing you well.
Oh, wow. Let me
check your volume for me.
Right. No, I can hear you clearly. I can hear you very well.
Okay, then that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Good. I'm urging parents and educators to join us Monday if they can. To be frank, this is the very first one I'm going to do outside country, and I'm going to run a couple of webinars with the parents on your show and educators, because I believe that our worry should be what we are giving to the children, because they are the future leaders. So we need to pay proper attention to the children. So I'm starting from the very basis of what I call fostering emotional capital in children. Now, why do we have to bother ourselves to foster emotional capital in children? You know, God has given us children, and one day we're going to leave this planet for them. Now, what is going to happen to them when we are not here should be a big deal for us, because before they get to that age of no reversal, that would have been disastrous. For it is very easy to amend children than to amend the adults.
Wow.
So it's very crucial for us to get them the needed skills that they need. And one of the most important things they need in life is the ability to harness their emotions. Because from day one, they start to exhibit emotions. Now, if we are not able to manage these emotions very well, we're going to destroy these children. I think one of your videos, I saw you explaining and highlighting about is it the most brilliant person, the child in the world now?
Oh, Ora,
Onya, what is the name?
Ora.
Yeah. You were picking some highlights. You're getting my point. Now, if parents don't understand emotions and don't understand some of these behaviors, it means we are destroying the future of these children.
Yes, sir.
You're getting my point. So it's very, very crucial for every parent to understand how to harness emotions in children so that the children will grow up to become who they are born to become. Most of the children have been destroyed from day one because parents and educators and guardians and caretakers did not understand the children's emotions and harness them for good.
Wow.
There was a case in point where a child normally goes to sit at the back of the class. And when he sits at the back of the class, the teacher will just go and pick him and put him in front. That, come and sit here. I want you to sit here. You are very stubborn. Every day you want to go to the back. Now, when some of us got involved, we got to know that the child has eye problem, that when he gets very close, rather he doesn't see well. So the child rather prefers to go to the back, that he can see well. So by the teacher bringing him to the front of the class, is rather impeding the child's performance.
Oh, yeah.
So if a mother or a teacher knows and understands the dynamics of emotions, the dynamics of children's emotions, which is one of the topics we are going to treat under this webinar, the dynamics of children's emotions, you will know that behind every child's behavior, there is an emotion, there is a feeling. So you need to find out, why is the child insisting on sitting at the back instead of being in the front that I prefer. But if you don't understand the dynamics of children's emotions, you will use that one as a stubborn child, and before you realize, you have ruined the future of the child. This is very, very important. So we're going to take parents into first understanding emotional dynamics of children. That's the first how do you call it, a subtopic we're going to look at under this webinar. Understanding emotional dynamics of children. If a child is crying, does it really mean crying? If a child is shouting at you, does it really mean shouting? Understanding the dynamics.
So
do you need to, yes, you don't need to suppress a child emotion and thinking that you are helping the child. You are joking. You don't suppress children's emotions and think that you are helping them. No, you need to validate their emotions before any assistance can be meaningful. For instance, if a child sees cockroach and the child is running away from cockroach, then mother will pick a cane and say, "Stupid, why are you running away from cockroach? They are not harmful." Then you are going to beat the child. No. You are not helping the child. You are not validating the emotions of the child. So we need to understand children's emotions. So what you have to do is that you call Kofi, don't run away. These cockroaches are only harmful when you step on them and when you kill them with your bare foot. So what you have to do is to get a broom or a stick and kill it. This is also an indication that we are not keeping our environment here clean. So Kofi, make sure that you sweep your room and sweep it well. You have validated the emotions of Kofi. For Kofi to understand that although my afraid of, how do you call it, cockroaches is not a crime, but how many of us as parents will have the ability to do that? We go straight away and condemn them. So their emotional display becomes a criminal offense to us. And when you do that, you are suppressing the child. And anything that is suppressed will not give out its best. You can mark my word. Very, very important. We'll also look at what I call the ABC of emotional literacy. The ABC of emotional literacy. You have to be able to make the child emotionally literate. Emotionally literate. The child should be able to read and write emotions. The child should be able to help to name emotions, identify emotions, understand emotions, appreciate emotions, relate with emotions, transfer emotions, contain emotions. These are what we call the ABC of literacy in emotions, emotional literacy. Are you equipping the child with the necessary vocabs to express emotions? Are you giving them the necessary coping skills? This is very, very important. The next thing that I will look at, which is very, very crucial for me, is what I call the secret to ADHD, emotional regulation. The secret to ADHD, emotional regulation. The ADHD stands for attention deficiency hyperactivity, right? Attention deficit hyperactivity deficiency. This is very, very important. Children that suffers with attention. There are so many of our children. You see, I'm not talking about that very deep into the spectrum you talked about with the autism. And I was very happy when you move autism from your explanation. Yes, we are all on the spectrum, right? All of us are mad and insane to a point in the spectrum. On that continuum, on that line, all of us are somewhere on that highway.
Yeah.
So we are mad in our own circles. You see, so there are children that are not autistic. We may not put them under that, but then these children will never give you attention. So children that faces this problem, there is a way we need to help them to regulate their emotions. Sometimes they get angry and the anger will never disappear for so long a time.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get disturbed and the disturbances will be with them for so long a time. Sometimes they simply don't seem to care about what is happening to others.
Yeah.
If a brother is having any challenge, it's not their problem. They don't care. Yes. Attention deficiency is one of the things that we're going to really look at. It's very, very important. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. That is the full word. So ADHD. Children that tend not to pay attention to certain things or they overreact. We need to have a way to help them regulate their emotion, because if they are not able to do that, it's going to help them in the future. Why is your brother suffering and you don't care? It doesn't bother you. That is not the way to go. Then finally, what I'm going to do is to now introduce them to what I call emotional development. Emotional development. That aspect is going to be very brief because I'm going to take them in the next webinar into a full emotional development of children. Very, very important. So basically, our first seminar is going to look at the concentration is going to be on these 4 areas: understanding emotional dynamics of children, the ABC of emotional literacy, the secret to ADHD emotional regulation, and then emotional development of a child, introduction to emotional development. Now, with the introduction to emotional development, we're going to look at something like anger, disappointment, fear. How are the children going to be able to be taught to live with this and manage them for good? That will usher in one of our main topics into a whole area of emotional development. That will look at a couple of skills that they need to build: empathy, compassionate, self-awareness, regulations, decision-making, and all those things are going to come on board. For the parent, there are a lot we're going to do with them. I've lined them up here, and it's going to be a very good journey. I'm very convinced that at the end of most this webinars, the feedback will be will speak for itself, because all of us are going to learn. Nobody is older than emotions. I always tell people, you are not older than emotions. Emotions are with God himself. So are you older than God? No. So we all need to harness it. If your children are grown up, the grandchildren are coming. The great-great-grandchildren are coming. You may have to move from country to country to impart this knowledge into them. So you need to be skillful enough to ensure that the children will be great for the future that we're seeking for them.
This is amazing. Listen, guys, it's up and it's available. I have posted it quite a few times. Yes, this is the first one. I asked him for 15 minutes. I've stolen 45. I'm sorry. I think you've been very lucky. he's almost a full session on this one. But yeah, you want to enjoy James and you want to benefit from his impartation. And if you really want to be there and catch this, click on that webinar, go and book yourself onto the course. No need to text James, no need to call Amma. Just click on that link straight. It asks you for 3 things. It will ask you for your name, it will ask you for your email address, and you make your payment for the webinar. 3 things, and you are in. Can you please make sure that you type in the right email address so that the login information and everything which is sent to you comes to an accurate place? Okay, James, you are fantastic, really.
Yeah.
As you me way beyond where I wanted initially, and I'm so glad you've taken us there. I hope those of you who've watched it have been blessed tonight, and I hope that you've been blessed enough to come and get more with him in webinar on Monday. It's Monday, and it's 2 p.m. Ghana time, which will be 3 p.m. GMT. No, BST. I always confuse this. It's 2 p.m. Ghana time, so it's 2 p.m. GMT, and it's 3 p.m. British summertime, BST. And you can subtract from that time or add on to it, depending on where you live. But just use GMT, 2 p.m. GMT on Monday, and it's with James. We are discussing emotional capital. Right. If you have any questions about the webinar, please ask him now before I let James go. If there are no questions, then we will simply thank him and we will look forward to seeing you on Monday. James and I will be in there on Monday, but on Monday, I am just a moderator. I am the admin. Happened.
Before I leave, one of the things that I will urge your followers to note is that we need to be intentional enough for whatever we want to see, right? Life is like the simple computer that we have. Garbage in, garbage out.
True that.
If you see somebody's child putting up a very good behavior, somebody's child being that resilient, you've seen somebody's child and you are very happy with whatever they are involved in. The people did not eat sandwich and go to bed. They might have been intentional enough to might have seen that outcome. So whatever we want to see in our children, we must do the basic investment into them. This is very, very important. All your children might have been a grown-up now, but you still be a mentor to other people. Other people may come to you one day with their children, with their problems. Do you have a small knowledge to help them before you even refer them to an expert? This is very, very important. Because of this, I'm trying to put a finishing touches to my book that I've titled Raising Emotionally Intelligent Children.
Wow.
Children are a core value to what I'm doing, because if we get them right, we have the next generation right.
Yeah.
Very, very important. So let's do our best to meet on Monday, and then we take it from there. I've even prepared for them a lot of, how do you call it? A lot of webinars. Seriously, there are a lot of webinars we're going to look at when it comes to parenting, right? I even have what I call the children, family, emotional intelligence.
Oh.
The child must be emotionally intelligent for the family. Yes, most children grow up, they don't want to see their father. They don't want to see their mother. Their brothers doesn't matter to them. Their hometown is not on the map. Their country is out of coverage area. Family intelligence. Who are you? What is your lineage? Where are you coming from as a parent? Who is your great parent? Family intelligence. Why is my brother not like me? Why is my sister different from me? How can I relate to my brother who is not like me? How would I appreciate my mother who doesn't speak English and I'm speaking the Queen's language? Family intelligence is one of the things that is fighting the future of our children. It's something that we'll look at it in our subsequent destiny. Very, very important. Community intelligence. Community intelligence. Social responsibilities of the children.
Woo.
We don't care about what goes on in our community. We don't care. But it's one of the areas that are very critical in life. Very, very, very important. Emotional, intelligent leaders.
Whoa!
We must raise children. By the age of 8 and 10, your child must be a leader in the school. Your child must be a leader in the community. Your child must be a leader in whatever he found himself or herself. Emotional, intelligent leaders. What kind of skills do you need to imbibe into the child that will prepare him to take up a leadership from day one? It doesn't just happen in a day.
Wow.
We need to inculcate this into children. Very, very important. Social relationships. When you have everything and you lack social relationship, you are not going anywhere. So there is a full-blown training for parent educators and teachers. Very, very important.
Right.
So I'm happy we are meeting on Monday, and I can assure you that we're going to have a nice time. And once again, thanks a lot to your followers and the people that believe in you. I can assure them they have not believed in wrong person, because I'm learning a lot from you.
Oh, thank you.
And I think I have to start to do more than what I've been doing. Very, very important.
I am learning.
That's good.
I am learning so much from you. It's phenomenal, really. I can't thank you enough that you come on and you give so freely. Guys, join me in thanking James. I asked for 15 minutes. You've got 55. We can't ask for any more. So James, God willing, I will get a few people booked onto that webinar, and they would come and enjoy what you've prepared for them. And the community and society will begin to see the impact once the parents become positioned. If you are a parent, it's an absolute must. Book onto that webinar. It will really help you.
And you know, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised of the number we get to start. I normally ask people, do you know the number that started Cambridge University? Google and find out. Do you know the number that started University of Ghana? Google to find out. So it's a subsequent and the testimonies that is going to grow. I see this as an academy coming to stay. A time is coming that before the year ends, your calendar for the trainings are all out there. So we don't be forcing people. People will pick and choose when to be there, and we enter into the classroom, and then we start to deliver. So we are coming on Monday. Nothing is stopping us. Absolutely. If even one person will enter the classroom with the person, and then we build it from there.
I like that.
Because we must have a seed, right? A seed is what is important. something must fall into the ground and got rotten before we have the proper fruits coming up. So if you eat all your seed, it means in the future you have no fruits. So James Kwesi Addison is prepared to sow a seed today. That could be 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. But the time is coming that I will enter the classroom of Manson and I will see 100 students, 200 students all over the group waiting for their humble servant, James Kwesi Addison.
I cannot.
On that note, I will say goodbye for now.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kwesi. I will be in touch and we will talk very soon. Guys, join me in thanking Kwesi. I hope you've also been blessed the way I have. Speak soon, Kwesi. Bye. Right, family. There you go. So you asked, you requested for webinars. Well, we do have webinars. This one with Kwesi 400240 is Kwesi Addison's code. And it's happening on Monday at 3 o'clock GMT. In fact, tomorrow, I am also running this one I have just posted in with Sister Mary Amwa. It is also a Parent Academy webinar. The Parent Academy webinar on special needs. It would be at 1 o'clock GMT, 1 p.m. GMT. That would be 2 o'clock British summertime. Whatever time zone you operate, please back it or subtract whatever you need to do to work that out. That webinar is in 16 hours and 37 minutes, 16 hours and 37 minutes time. Mariamwa and I will be live. We will be discussing special needs education. Those of you who saw the Orabe video today, and I've had lots of emails. Amma, can we get help? Well, this is help. This is help. Come to the webinar and come learn from Mary. Let Mary teach you some techniques and some tricks. Do come and learn. No, it's not always going to be on video. Actually, when somebody's imparting, you get more out of them anyway than when we are chatting on social media when it's an interview. When a teacher is in impartation mode, you receive more. There are less distractions and the person just flows. And that's for the webinar. Yes, they are paid webinars. Please understand that the people sacrificing not giving free Facebook. That's what the conversation and interviews are for. But if you're looking for impartation, you have to be willing that you would dip in your pocket. If you know any families who should be beneficiaries to this, they cannot afford it or whatever, you go and put them on and gift them the access. Okay, gift people knowledge. With children, books, some things, and gift to. If you know somebody with special needs who is struggling, pass this on to them. Tell them that this is one they should definitely go and check for sure. Tell them for me. And this is one which will bring some of the greatest benefits. No, I cannot be answering this on the other side. Please click on the webinar itself and go book. Please go and book. Don't WhatsApp, okay? Please go book and attend. Tomorrow, we will be there in 16 hours time. This is all this is. And Ferdinand Senyo Lawson, those of you, Blessed Beyondbelieve, are you still there? So the last time Senyo was here, you indicated you wanted to be in his webinar. Antia, you also mentioned it, right? I think so, if I'm not mistaken. That day was when my phone crashed. A lot of you do know that you sent me emails and whatnot. Book yourself onto this one. As soon as you book, I send him your contact details. Book, WhatsApp me your post address, and we can have the book sent to you when this booking is in place. So go to this last one. This last one, 398323, is the Senyo Lawson one, Ferdinand Senyo Lawson. we are discussing quite interesting things. Let me remind you of what the webinar topics are. So the furthest one is Senyos. It's on self-discovery. You can't do much. If you listen to James, he actually talked about self-actualization. Well, you cannot self-actualize if you've not discovered. It's that simple. You cannot actualize what is still a mystery. The next person was the person you heard today. You saw today, James Kwesi Addison, raising emotionally intelligent children, and we are discussing emotional capital development in children. Tomorrow's webinar is with Miss Mary Awomirekuah. We are discussing parenting children with learning difficulties. We are discussing parenting special needs children. But if you have very, very young children, that's a special need in itself too. There you go. Those are the three we have coming up. If I can be useful to you in any way, then do ask. I would love to show you things. I would love to explain things, but it will not be the same as attending the webinars and learning from the resource people themselves in full impartation mode. Brother Chris, I see you. I see you. It's good to see you. So that's it. I'm off to sleep. And if everything works well, I'll see you in 2 hours with Wobada, but I do need to sleep a little bit before. So there we go. You've got everything explained. You can see the links to the webinar, and do let the bookings commence aggressively and quickly so I can get a commitment from the speakers and attract new people to come in and teach and impart on these webinars. It's very important to me that it doesn't become a time-wasting exercise for these guys. So help me out, help everybody out, so that we can get an influx of information and learning, because we do need it. Thank you very much, sincerely, and I shall see you in a couple of hours with Wobada.